Perfect. So I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, the last Lakeside chat of the year. Happy December, everybody. Tonight we have Robyn Young joining us. She is currently in Vermont, and she is the founder of Money Care. That she founded that in 2005, and she achieved her certified daily money manager designation in 2009, and that is what she's here to talk to us about. And this is a very helpful subject for anybody that is caring for somebody that needs help financially, or maybe wants somebody else to handle their own financial stuff. So Robyn, I will let you take it away, and we really do appreciate you coming and sharing your expertise with us tonight.
Great, and I see Pat's joining us, and I want to say hi to Heidi. I haven't seen Heidi in many years.
Hey, Robyn.
Hi. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. I put together a PowerPoint presentation because sometimes it's easier to read things. So I'm going to talk about daily money management. It's a field that many people don't know about, and I belong to the American Association of Daily Money Managers, and I'm working very hard to spread the word to the general public and to appropriate advisors about the profession and our association. So I am Robyn Young, and I own Money Care, daily money management service. I'm also vice president of the American Association of Daily Money Managers, which we affectionately call AADMM. And so today I'm here with my AADMM hat on, representing the association to talk about this field. So what is a daily money manager? What do we do? We provide services that help individuals manage their day-to-day personal finances. So unless we have the appropriate credentials, we're not financial advisors, we're not accountants, we're not attorneys. We're in the nuts and bolts of what's happening day to day. And really the core of our services begins with bill paying. That's often why we're brought in to help someone. And from there, the services expand, and most of us customize our service to what our clients need within the field of our expertise. And that includes managing mail, and that can be physical mail or electronic mail. Mail comes electronically a lot now. We monitor financial accounts, make sure things are being paid appropriately. We are constantly, especially with older clients, we might be checking for signs of fraud or exploitation. We also reconcile accounts. A lot of us download transactions into financial software. Many of us use Quicken, and from that we can keep very accurate records of what's happening in someone's personal financial affairs. We oversee cash flow. We work with clients to handle questions with their vendors, which could be anything from the electric company to buying something online, trying to figure those issues out. Organizing tax documents is huge. And it's not just gathering up all the forms that come in the mail or come electronically. It's also generating reports that may be needed for someone's tax return, such as estimated tax payments that were paid or charitable donations, things like that, medical expenses. We assist with fraud prevention, and this is done really working one-on-one with people, and it's a lot of education. And I had a client who told me when I went to work with her one time, this is pre-pandemic, that she had sent a gift card to a company that she does regular business with. I think it was her telephone company. Someone had called and said she had to send a gift card. And so I sat her down and we had a very gentle conversation. I didn't accuse her, but about what fraudsters do, how they operate, and why they asked her for a gift card. And it helped a lot. And I've coached her a lot. I've had to talk to her about things like it's okay to be rude and hang up on people. You don't have to be polite. You don't have to stay on the phone. And we also talk about things that could come through the email, things like that. So a lot of us are very aware of fraud, and in addition to fraud, financial exploitation that could happen from people who shouldn't be receiving money from the client. We do charitable gift coordination. This shows up in many ways. We have some clients who make lots of planned charitable gifts into the thousands, and they need help coordinating it. And then we also have people who receive a lot of solicitations in the mail, and they're writing a check every time one comes, which is not a very good practice. And so we help people manage that. And gifts, we help people manage gifts, especially making sure that gifts, sometimes people need help making sure that the regular annual gifts that they always make to family members are being made, and inappropriate gifts are not being made. We have clients, many of us have clients who have multiple residences, and those generate a lot of bills, insurance, property taxes, and those all have to be tended to. Again, with our financial software, we can provide reports either for the client or their accountants or other advisors. Some investment advisors want to see reports. We play a role in coordinating work when a client needs something done that involves all of their advisors, be it attorneys, accountants, investment advisors, whatever it is. Often the daily money manager is the go-between between all the parties, making sure the client understands what's going on, helping the client fill out any appropriate forms, signing them. We make sure everything gets back to everyone who needs them. We just help the process flow. And that also falls into estate plans, especially when people create a trust and they need their assets titled into the trust. Well, that needs a lot of paperwork to have that happen. It means contacting the companies, getting the appropriate forms, helping the client fill them out, getting the appropriate signatures and guarantees on signatures, and getting them back. And for some clients, they're either really, really busy, or it's just overwhelming, and we can help coordinate all of that. So those are some of the services that daily money managers provide. For a lot of our clients, we reduce stress, big time stress over all the day-to-day stuff. And for those clients who could be vulnerable, because we're involved and we're keeping track of things and we're professional, we help reduce their vulnerability. And a vulnerable person isn't always an older person. It could be anyone who's going through a serious life transition, be it divorce, a death of a family member, even a birth of a child. These high stress events, when people are highly stressed, they're much more vulnerable to fraud. So daily money managers are organized. We're very organized. We're very detail oriented. We're prepared. And members of our association are also transparent. And because of the requirements to be members of our association, we're also safe to work with. The value add of daily money management, working with a daily money manager, is that we focus on people. We're not bookkeepers. When I think of bookkeepers, I think of businesses. And some people who were teaching to use the word daily money manager sometimes call us personal bookkeepers, but we're not bookkeepers, we're daily money managers. And so we focus on people, which means that we know things like how Social Security works. We know how Medicare works, and we know how to go in every fall during open enrollment and help people choose the plans they need or make changes. We understand how estates work. We understand legal documents like trusts and how all of that works. So we really focus on the people part of finances. And we provide peace of mind, whether it's for you or if you're working with a daily money manager to help a loved one, for those loved ones as well. So who do we work with? We can work with anyone. A lot of daily money managers work with older adults and their children, especially when the children are concerned they can't do the work themselves and they want a professional involved to help mom or dad or an aunt or uncle. We work with people with disabilities, busy professionals. I have one client who lives in New York, and he has a large company, and he's traveling all over the world. And, he just doesn't have time to tend to his daily stuff. And so I assist him with all of that. Small business owners tend to be clients. There are some young people who have assets, a large number of assets for whatever reason, and they need help learning how to manage it. And daily money managers can assist with that. Some daily money managers specialize in working with military and veterans, and they know a lot about veterans, the Veterans Administration and all the benefits. I personally don't, but some daily money managers specialize in that. Frequent travelers. I have clients, there are a couple that spend 9 months of the year on a catamaran boat, traveling up and down the eastern seaboard and over to the Bahamas, and you can bet that they're not home answering the phone or opening the mail, and I help them with all of that. High net worth individuals, obviously, and then, as I mentioned, people in life transitions that are facing new experiences in their life. Oftentimes, daily money managers are contacted by friends, relatives, adult children who are concerned about an older adult who may need help, is showing signs of needing help. And these are typical signs. I think studies have shown that when people start losing cognitive abilities, the first thing to go is the ability to manage their day-to-day finances. That's the first thing. And the real big indication that someone might be challenged by this, especially if this is new, is all the mail piling up. Unprocessed mail all over the house, in unusual places. Those are signs. And when you dig into the mail, you might find uncashed checks, unpaid bills. If you happen to look at a bank statement or even bills that show where things are paid, you could see more double payments have been sent in, or late fees might be piling up. Credit card debt mounting, especially if all of this is unusual. These are all really important signs. Looking at seeing large unusual purchases and withdrawals, that's a sign. Especially with a purchase that would be out of the ordinary, if an 80-year-old is buying scuba gear, you might question why, especially if they don't have a young person in their life who does scuba diving and they're not buying a gift for that person, they're buying it for themselves. That could be an indication that something's wrong. New donations, excessive payments, especially to individuals that are not really shouldn't be receiving large payments. Subscriptions is another thing that I see a lot of, that older people need help with. I'm struggling with it with my own father right now. If you look on the labels of magazines, they often show when the subscription expires. And if you can see that it's out several years, it means that someone's probably writing a check every time one of the magazines sends a renewal subscription. And that really is inappropriate. Personally, I wait till the subscription runs out and then I renew it. But people who are paying it every time the mail comes in, that's an indication that they need help managing this. Lottery tickets and sweepstakes, especially if it's unusual behavior, new behavior for the person. And certainly if you overhear calls from creditors, that's definitely a sign that something is wrong. And a daily money manager can come in and help with all of these things. So I want to talk a little bit about our association. We have, right now we're just a little under 600, but we're approximately 600 members across the country. Many daily money managers work remotely. In fact, the pandemic threw us all into this and we figured out how to do it. So it's possible to work with a daily money manager who is not within driving distance. It's possible to do. And I have many clients. I mean, I have a client in New Zealand, so it's possible to do this remotely. The association is working on professionalizing the industry. As I said, we're working very hard for daily money managers to become an everyday household term. And we also have a certification program. It's a voluntary for certification. We have an annual conference and lots of continuing education for topics related to the work we do for our clients. To be a member of the association, we have to sign a code of ethics and agree to follow standards of practice. So this means clients come first. And we have access to professional liability insurance that was developed specifically for daily money managers. And you can only buy it through the agency that works with our association. There's no other insurance policy in the country that specifically insures daily money managers. And finally, to be a member of the association, you have to pass a national criminal background check. Okay, so next slide. So our certification program is, as I mentioned, it's voluntary. It requires 1,500 hours of having provided daily money management services. It can be a combination of paid work and volunteer work. We have to sit and pass an exam and, of course, obtain continuing education units in order to maintain our certification. We have an independent board that evaluates all courses that we receive credit from, and we can take courses not only through our association, but through other organizations, but they still have to be reviewed by the certification board. And the association is working towards national accreditation, which means that there's an organization out there called the National Commission for Certifying Agencies. And this organization reviews voluntary certification programs and requires them to be at a very high standard with certain things in place. And once those are met, they will grant you national accreditation. It means that your self-certification is a very high standard, and we're in the process of working towards that. So three takeaways that I hope you take from what I'm saying today is that daily money managers do a lot more than pay bills. We can help people with all the little details of their financial day-to-day stuff. Anyone can use a daily money manager. Not everyone needs one, but everyone could use one. And we support and facilitate our work with other professionals. Now, this is an important slide if you're interested in working with a daily money manager. I have to say that I currently am not accepting any new clients. My client roster is over full, so I can't accept any more folks. However, there are daily money managers that are in our association who are, and you can find them by logging onto our website, www.aadmm.com, and there's a button there, find a DMM, and you can use that search tool to find a daily money manager. And thank you again. I'm Robyn, and Christina, I guess I'd ask you to, I don't see the button again to stop sharing my screen. So I guess I'd ask you.
Okay, well, let's see here.
She's got the power.
We will do
Yes.
that.
So I've got a quick question for you. While she's trying to figure that out. What types of reporting is typical for your clients? What do you do for your clients? You give them P&L? Do you do a QuickBooks run? What exactly do you report into them, or their perhaps powers of attorney if they're not competent?
Well, with clients, it depends on the clients. Some clients don't want anything. Other clients, I use Quicken for my clients. I don't use QuickBooks, and I can run a report that's very much like a P&L. It shows their income in and their expenses out. For some clients who have multiple properties, I can run a report that shows them expenses by property so they can see what's happening at each place. And these are all customizable. Some clients, they come back and they say, okay, I see what I spent on shopping at Amazon. Can you run me a detailed report of that? Or, you know, I see I spent this much on medical expenses. Can you run me a detailed report? And I do that. Some clients, I also run what's called a register report, which lists the transactions in one account. For example, a checking account. They want to see that. They don't necessarily keep a checkbook register, and they want a report that shows all that transaction. Those are the common ones. Yeah, those are the common ones. And for financial advisors, I have one client who wants a quarterly. Her advisor wants a quarterly report of all her income and expenses. And I run him one that shows all of that, but she has 4 properties. So there's a column for each property, and then there's a column for everything that's not associated with a property, her personal expenses.
Neat, thanks.
So I wanted to say hi, Juanita and Karen. I did not see you. Come on. Hello, hello. And Brenda, hello as well out there, and Pat. So Robyn, how did you get into this?
That's an interesting story. I was working at United Way of what was then Chittenden County at the time. I was the campaign director, and I knew I wanted to work for myself. And I actually read a column in the Burlington Free Press about daily money management. And this was back in, I think, 2004. And I said, that's it. I'm going to do that. That's what I want to do. And, you know, I've never wasn't a bookkeeper, you know, I'm not an accountant, but I've always been very good at working with money and keeping records, detail oriented. I mean, I'm a person who started keeping a budget when she was 16. So, you know, that's the kind of person I am. And in the article, I learned about the American Association of Daily Money Managers. I looked them up online. I saw that in a couple of weeks, they're having a conference in Hartford, Connecticut. And I went to the conference and I attended a day-long session on starting this business. And I said, and that confirmed, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I went back and I wrote a business plan, and then made I actually took on a voluntary representative payee position to test the waters, see if I wanted to do it. A rep payee, if you don't know, is someone who receives Social Security benefits on behalf of an individual who can't manage those. And you have to have a separate account to receive the benefits, and you have to make sure the beneficiary has access to the money. If they need cash, make sure they have cash, make sure their bills are paid. And I did it as volunteer. I've done that for many people as a volunteer over the years. But anyways, I tested the water that way, and then I decided, yeah, that confirmed it the 3rd time. And then I made plans to leave United Way, and here I am.
Good for you.
So it didn't seem like there were a lot of barriers at that point to get into it. Is it stricter now? I thought I read somewhere that in order to get into this, you need experience working somewhere that handles finances for people already. So like an attorney's office that might have.
No, you know, anyone can become a daily money manager. And there are people out there who do this work who are not members of our association, and they don't call themselves daily money managers, but they do this. I mean, anyone who has the skills can do it. At this point, it's not a regulated profession, and there's no licenses involved, which is why Adam started the certification program, because we wanted some members to have a way to have some credibility, to say that they have some standards. And that's really why we're working towards national accreditation, to even raise the bar some more.
Are you self-regulated?
Well, only through the certification program.
Gotcha. So there's really no regulations at all.
There's really no regulations,
Okay.
but and so the association put things in place like background checks. you know, because we can't have daily money managers out there stealing money from clients, you know, that won't work.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's why we have a code of ethics that we're all expected to follow. And sometimes the association receives complaints, and then the board sets up a committee to investigate those. And we have asked people to leave the association if they haven't been credible. So, yeah.
That makes sense.
Maybe you can walk us through physically, how do you do all this? How do you get the bills from the clients? Do you go to their house? Does somebody provide you with all this? Because if you're doing this remote, since there aren't that many DMMs available, how do people interface with you?
Okay. So I will say that I do have a couple of clients that I do meet with personally a couple times a month. And for them, they're not far away, and it's a really important part of their social network. They need that interaction. But for those, I'll answer it for those that I work remotely with. So with mail, receiving the mail, a lot of bills come to me electronically. Either I have online access to, say it's Green Mountain Power, I have access to the Green Mountain Power website for the client, and I can look and download the bills. Or I've contacted vendors who email bills out. Almost all places email bills, and they send the bills to me. I've set up email addresses for each client, and they can send the email address, the bills to that email address, and then I retrieve them from that.
Oh, neat idea. Yeah, because I would think that's a logistics nightmare.
The people on the boat, they've hired a mail service that actually all their mail is sent to that mail service. And the mail service puts up images of the envelopes, and then I log in and I click a button and I tell them which things to scan, and then I go back, it's all scanned, and I can click on the PDF and I can see what it is.
Pretty neat.
So there's all kinds of, and then I also have mail. I have a PO box, and I do have some clients' mail that comes physically to me. Not too much, but some.
Maybe, yeah, go ahead, Christina.
I believe you had a question.
Actually, it was a question and a comment based on my understanding, Robyn, that although the profession as a whole is not regulated, there are some DMMs who perform certain functions that are regulated in different states. For instance, they're acting as power of attorneys. Financial power attorneys, or a guardian for a minor or a ward of the state and such. So that for some very sensitive work, that it is that there are additional protections above and beyond the background checks that are what most people rely on.
I would hope so, if they're acting as a fiduciary, POA, trustee, whatever.
Well, there's some states that require this. For example, California. If you're a fiduciary in California working as a POA, you have to take a course and pass an exam, and then you have to maintain your certification. Vermont doesn't have those requirements. So, and a lot of other states don't. California is the only state that I know of who has those, but there may be others.
Any other questions out there?
Yeah.
I got one more. Maybe share what the average cost is to hire a daily money manager, because everybody runs their own businesses, and I'm sure it varies from state to state. Is there any range people can expect to pay if they hire a DMM?
Yes, it actually varies state to state, whether you're urban or not. So if you're in New York City, you can expect to pay more than if you're in more rural area. But I can give you a range. It usually probably from around $60 an hour to upwards to $200 an hour, depending on where the DMM is.
So quite a range.
Mhm. Yeah. So,
Any others? So do you find that a lot of daily money managers work specifically with a client type? Or is it fairly widespread? You know, some might choose to work with small business owners. Some might choose to work with elderly loved ones.
yes, there are some daily money managers that specialize. There are a lot who only work with older adults. There are many who only work with high net worth individuals, depending on the age. The age doesn't matter of the client, it's their net worth that matters. There are some who really focus on small business people, and there they could be functioning both as a small business bookkeeper and the business owner's daily money manager. And then there's some that do arrange. I do arrange simply because that's to get going. I needed to in in Vermont, so I have a combination, and they overlap. Yeah. So, but on the website, if you use the DMM, Adam's website, if you use the Find a DMM tool, when you find daily money managers, they list what they specialize in if they have specialties.
It must not take long for you to hit capacity constraints when you can't take any more clients. What does that look like for a DMM? I mean, when do they tap out for just not having capacity? Because if you're coordinating somebody with, 10 houses, they could be your only client.
Yeah, that's a dangerous position to be in, but it could be. And there was a gentleman who stood up at a conference and said, "Well, I really only have 2 clients." Like, oh. So again, it depends, because client needs vary. I mean, I have some clients that I meet with once a month, and I just help them with their Quicken, and it's a couple of hours a month. And then I have others that I spend 10 hours a month working on their things. So for me, I'm at about 14 clients. There was a time when I was at 19, but my client work has shifted such that there's fewer people are asking more. And so I'm at capacity at about 14. We actually recently, several of us in the association had a conversation about this recently, and we kind of agreed that 12 to 15 was like when you start maxing out.
Yeah, I kind of wondered. I mean, you could hire other staff to help, correct?
Yes, and some daily money managers do have staffs. They're called agencies or firms, and there's a couple of people that I know who have daily money management firms in the DC area, and they all have like 5 or 6 people working for them. So that happens as well too. I'm solo.
Yeah, then maybe you could do a lot more. Neat.
Yeah. So
I know Juanita and Karen and I are kind of in the same boat, where we have young daughters in college, and if we wanted to point them in this type of direction, which sounds like a fascinating career path, what would you recommend that they would be looking into?
well, I would start by getting some volunteer experience, working on a volunteer basis to help people, either through what I did with the Social Security Rep Payee program, or contacting an area agency on aging. They're always looking for people, because or maybe there's a relative that they can assist, or a friend of the family. I think getting some hands on the ground experience is important, because then when you start going out looking for clients, you need to be able to say, well, I've done this, I can do this. And it doesn't matter that you weren't paid for it. It's what matters is that you have the experience. And this is a field where, that's another thing we talk about on the association level too. Clients come by word of mouth. They don't come from advertising.
Yeah, I assume you don't have to do any advertising.
No, it's all word of mouth. And who makes referrals? It's advisors like you. Sometimes it's from other clients refer people, but usually they're possessive. No, she's my daily money manager. You can't have her. But it's, it's accountants, it's attorneys, especially estate planning and elder law attorneys, it's financial advisors who are aware of the profession and see that their clients need the assistance, or people come to presentations like this and learn about it. So I would definitely have them get experience, test the water, see if they like it, and then and start part-time. This is a profession. I've seen a lot of people try to do this full-time from the beginning. It takes a while to build up a client base. It takes a while to have your client roster completely filled, because it is by word of mouth. And you could talk to someone today and 5 years later they make a referral. So they also need to have another source of income while they're building the business. And join the association. I should have said that first. Join the association.
So they can join the association without having okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. And we have lots and lots of educational opportunities. Lots. We do a lot of webinars, and they're recorded. We keep them up for 3 years, then they start becoming outdated. And those are all remote. Of course, they're webinars. We have the annual conference. We have a forum where members can post questions, and a lot of new people are really helped by these questions from the experienced folks. And we have blogs. Thanks to Pat, we have an awesome series of blogs with a lot of information on those as well. So
I'm shocked there's only 600, because I would think the demand is astronomical.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the clients I work with, as they start to get more forgetful, I'm always trying to pull somebody in to help. And it's often due to necessity, a family member that sometimes just doesn't want to do it, may not be skilled enough. So having a DMM would be awesome, because you're independent, objective, and provide a great service.
yes, and as I said, I think there's a lot of people out there who are doing this work, and we're working hard to get their attention, to let them know that we have an association that can help them advance their career and their profession.
Do you find that you start working with a client directly and then notice that there may be a decline, and so do you then speak to the client? Do you speak to family members about, next steps if there's a noticeable decline?
Yeah, one of the things that I do automatically is that in my letter of agreement with clients, I have a line there saying that if I see that they may need help, or, I can talk to a certain person, and the client names that person.
So then if contact.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if I see an issue going on, then I already have permission. I mean, the way I operate is that I don't talk to other people about my client's affairs unless I have written permission from the client. Even with their advisors, they have to give me written permission before I share information, before I send reports. So I have that trusted contact, and then I know I can call that trusted contact, and then depending on the situation, we figure out where to go from there. So I did have a case with a client who I was brought in by some geriatric care managers who were working. She was referred to them, and they were working with her, and her affairs were just a mess. And what was happening in her personal life, her husband had Alzheimer's and was in a home specializing in Alzheimer's, and she was just so stressed. She had lost her driver's license. She was having a hard time getting to see her husband. He was dying, and it got to the point where she actually became dehydrated And she had to be hospitalized herself, and she was in the hospital while her husband passed away. She couldn't be with her husband. It was very, very sad, but her life was just a mess. And I was just keeping her finances going. So she didn't get into trouble there. But about 3 months after her husband died, she was like a new person. And today she's much more, I still work with her. In fact, I was working with her this afternoon. She's much more involved. She's aware of what's going on. And it was, I was like really happy for her that she had such a turnaround. And again, it was that whole stress thing going on in her life.
Oh, grieving causes a cognitive impairment physically.
Yeah.
That's
I was
neat.
literally picking up unpaid bills off her floor in her house.
That's a good place for them.
But it's not like that anymore. I come into the house and everything's all organized. So, yeah.
They'll send you more, don't worry.
Any other questions out there? Any comments? Has everybody heard of a daily money manager before, or has anybody not heard? Right?
I
Well,
never heard. I never
Brenda?
heard before. I never heard before, and thank you, Robyn. I missed a little bit in the beginning, but I think I got quite a bit, and this is really fascinating. Thank you. And
Okay, great.
I guess my question is, people retire and then they go, oh, so we end up volunteering or doing a lot of things. And is this something that someone could do in retirement just to keep things going? I'm not speaking myself. I'm thinking more my daughter.
Full disclosure,
Absolutely.
she's not talking about herself.
Absolutely. A lot of daily money managers work part-time, and they've reached the retirement age, but they still want to keep going. They want to be active and they want to help others, and they enjoy doing this work. So there's a lot of people who come into this from other careers. There's very few people actually who start it right out of college, and say, oh, I'm going to be a daily money manager. Most people come in from other professions.
Is volunteering helping people with their taxes a volunteer place to start?
That could be a place, although a lot of daily money managers don't prepare tax returns. Some do. Most of us don't. We work with the client's accountants, but it is, it's an avenue. It's certainly an avenue to get in there and certainly meet people who might want to hire a daily money manager, might need more services.
Yeah, are you talking specifically like the Office of the Aging?
The
Senior center?
Yeah. They're always looking, and they have really good training. I know
They
that.
do.
Yeah, we've had quite a few clients who have worked there, and they really like it, and it's a valued service because they offer it free. And I don't know, it gives you organizational skills, and I don't know, anything you do, you learn.
Mhm. Keep that brain active.
Gotta do it, gotta have purpose.
That's right. Any
Well,
other?
Robyn, you've come a long way. I've known you for a lot of years, and thank you very much for sharing all this information. It's really, it's an amazing profession, and it's a critical profession, and everybody needs what you do.
So if you do find people who might be interested in becoming a daily money manager, encourage them to do so, because we do need more.
Great idea, because some people are looking for new careers. Well, really?
Yeah.
I read an article that said it's now called the returnship instead of the internship. People that have been out of the workforce for a little bit that are returnship.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And if people want to work independently and have can slowly build up a business, it's great. You can set your own schedule.
Work from home in your jammies.
Until you have too many clients, and then your life is not your own.
Any other comments, questions, anything? No? All right. Well, then I will end the recording. Thank you very much, Robyn. We really do appreciate all of the information.
Great. Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. This was fun.